You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Well, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Liam English.
Hey.
So, Liam,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you do professionally?
All right. So, well, I'm actually a full-time student.
Oh, right on. What are you studying?
Well, I screenwriting and playwriting and also political science. Weird double major, but
Holy shit. How do you go from screenwriting to playwriting to political science?
well, it's like, well, okay. So actually I want to write speeches. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. What types of speeches are we talking about? We talking about presidential speeches?
I mean, that's the dream, man, I guess.
Well, now, who are you going to be writing presidential speeches for?
Well, I mean, we'll have to see who's president in next year.
All right. So when you're writing a speech, what do you understand the different types of speeches that are out there? You got to, I think it all gets kind of played on, like you were saying, who gets elected.
Yeah, exactly.
So is your specific just on presidential speeches, or are you focused on other things like just good speeches, memorable speeches?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, to be totally honest, I feel like if you learn how to write like a good speech, you know what I mean? You can kind of just slot in whatever agenda whoever you're writing the speech for wants.
That's true. Do you find that, what types of studying have you had to do to kind of figure out what the parts are to go into a good speech? Obviously, there's a lot of practice in doing it, but even with there's different styles. Let's look at Barack Obama, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay? His whole way of talking. Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Take those huge breaks.
Yeah, but it's he's leaving you with cliffhangers every 5 seconds. You're like,
yeah.
Finish the damn sentence. Spend 2 hours. But he's a good public speaker. Then you got JFK, my fellow Americans, we're here.
Yeah, he lays it down. He's pretty good.
And then don't forget, who is it? Abraham Lincoln, man. That a memorable speech, and you're just listening to it this man. I'm staring at him, and all I keep thinking of is that amazing beard and that.
Oh yeah. No, I feel like the beard was definitely a good move for him. Apparently he didn't always have that.
Yeah, I think a while he was barefaced.
I think he wasn't even elected with the beard.
Dude, he was a vampire slayer.
Right, yeah. Then he grew.
That was better than the movie Lincoln. That was an actual documentary. They had those movies come out at the same time, and no one saw fucking Lincoln.
I know. No, I'll be honest with you. I saw Lincoln in theaters, and I think I was in the movie theater for a total of half an hour because I kept leaving because I was so bored. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to be fair, I was 13, but still.
I saw Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and I went to class the next day after seeing it in theaters, and I was letting everybody know, you don't know the real Abraham Lincoln. I know the real Abraham Lincoln. He was a badass.
Let me tell you, before he was president, he was killing vampires on the daily. You don't even know.
Dude, you want to actually know his true fact about Abraham Lincoln? He is a professional barehanded boxer.
Is that true?
When he used to do lumberjack, he used to cut wood and stuff. He used to do fights, and he was a champion.
That's fucking awesome.
Well, he's 6'6", and he was strong as hell. He was a fit guy.
Yeah.
And actually, people think that when he got shot in the head, he died right there. He actually died later.
Well, of course. I mean, he could catch bullets. You have to when you fight vampires, you know?
He caught a bullet in the eye.
And then
he sat dying on his hospital or in his house, and he sat dying in his house for, I think it was the next day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about they were talking to him. He was barely responsive. He was just basically spouting out gibberish.
Eef. But he was still there, that's pretty badass, I have to say.
Hey, you take a bullet. And then also, if you look at Teddy Roosevelt.
He could drop a motherfucker.
Dude, he got his eye. He got blind in one eye from a boxing match while he was president. Imagine you're boxing the fucking president. You punch the president. His eye goes out and he still knocks your ass out.
Yeah. Yo, that's what I'm saying. I feel obviously political office should be decided by a whole, a litany of factors, of course, but the president should also be, I feel a little badass. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's got to be able to take care of himself, I think.
Yeah. I feel like it gives the United States a little air of like, it gives us some respect if the president walks into the room and everyone's like, oh shit, he could kick our ass.
Yeah, like look
that's
at Putin.
wild.
Putin just straight up kills people.
I know, and I hate to say it, but like Putin, he looks intimidating. He's got a good look.
There was a picture of him walking away from his private jet, and literally it looked like that jet was going to explode. Like
and he'd just like walk away in slow motion.
Yeah, he's just like, why is he doing slow mo? Just let him.
But that's cool though. Like it's a good look,
So, like, are you interested in politics at all, or is it just you just want to do good speeches?
Yeah, no. I feel like politics is really interesting, and I just feel like what a good way to stay informed and stuff is to turn it into what you're studying at school.
Well, that's what makes it a popular topic is because a lot of people never want to talk about it, but we choose to make it stigmatized by not talking about it and making it some taboo subject.
Yeah.
It's not hard to listen to someone else's opinion and not agree. Everyone's thoughts on politics and everyone's answers where they say, oh, this is right, whatever. No, it's your opinion on things.
Yeah.
We don't like people having opinions that don't fit our own.
Yeah, no, exactly. And and that's another thing is that like, honestly, studying politics and discussing stuff in school, it's a good way to learn how to talk and how to listen,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, it's a constant human nature to want to be aware. This is why you turn on the television and look at the news. I mean, you want to be aware of what's going on around you. You don't want to be left in the dark. Before they had telephones, before they had media and TV, there was newspapers.
Yeah.
And back before then, they delivered shit with a fucking pigeon.
Exactly. Yeah. I just like sort of run down the street and yell what's going on.
Yeah. Paul Revere. Imagine if Paul Revere broke his leg and couldn't ride a horse. And then next thing you know, the British invaded. Back in the Western days, someone sent a message and it would travel and it would take like 4 days to get to them. Next thing you know, like you haven't heard from grandma in a year. You're sending out constant letters and find out grandma got killed by bandits. And that letter that was being carried telling you to come to her funeral didn't make it.
Yeah, like the fucking the telegram that never got delivered but would have made all the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Extra, read all about it. Grandma dead.
Yeah, just running down the road yelling that. Yeah.
I think when you look at a speech, a lot of people don't ever really want to feel like they have to be in charge of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to be leaders, but we don't want the qualifications and the kind of the task a leader has to follow. I mean, your idea of the president, don't you think that is a ridiculous job?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Because to want to be the president, I feel like that kind of innately makes you not super qualified to be a president. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think anybody's qualified, whether it's a guy or a girl, whether it's whatever, depending on race. It seems like the only people that we talk about are good presidents are the ones that died in office or were impeached or something, where it seemed like they didn't have enough time to like,
fuck up.
Yeah, it's the Batman quote. You
exactly.
Die to be a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's what it turns out to be.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. That's such a funny thing, but it's really true.
What do you find kind of where do you want to see yourself maybe in like a couple of years?
I mean, that's such a hard question. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
because
dude, I can't even give you an answer. I'm just hoping you got one for me.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, to be honest, right now I'm kind of focusing on writing more than politics. I focused on politics a lot my first year here, and I'm in my second year, and I'm a lot more focused on the like screenwriting and that kind of thing.
What types of things screenwriting wise?
Well, I wrote a play that's being produced right now, which is pretty exciting. I just came from there. And so I'm just trying to, it's interesting because when you write something and it gets produced, you can't really direct it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's strange. It's like someone buys your idea, then you're watching it get turned into a whole different way.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been sitting in on the rehearsals, and the director will like say something about what I wrote, and he'll like, he'll be like looking for the meaning in it and stuff. And you're not really supposed to be like, oh, hey, that's not really what I meant. But sometimes you want to say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy because if you look at Kevin Smith, He did Jay and Silent Bob. He's
Yeah,
Silent
yeah, yeah.
Bob. Well, he talked about like writing, and that's why he became a director, so he could craft it out the way he wanted it done. He remember talking about with George Carlin on one of the movies of Jay and Silent Bob, where George
Uh-huh.
Carlin's like, "How is he saying rules of the road? Does he actually believe in the rules of the road, or does he do it jokingly?" He goes, "No, he kind of actually believes in it." And the guy's like, "Got it." And then immediately, that's how it was played, and that's how you felt it in the movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy because a lot of directors and a lot of people that produce movies nowadays, they have a script that they just buy and they go into. I think what makes a popular movie and a popular sitcom is when the writers are also the actors or the director of the film.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard when you do write something that then gets picked up for production and you're not a part of it, because you just kind of have to be like, well, I hope it turns out okay.
Now, would you want to write so this play you wrote, tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, man. It's like really heavy, because it's supposed to be it was like a contest kind of thing that you entered. And so I tried to really pull out the big guns,
Like Romeo and Juliet big guns, or
dude, I'm talking like, it's like these like dueling monologues, and it's all about like sexuality and like, sexual assault and like all sorts of crazy stuff,
all the best things.
I mean, all the best things if you want to make an impression with a play, bro.
Do you know exactly where theater arts and performing arts in general came from?
Exactly. Can't say I do.
Aristotle from Greek.
Like,
you ever play Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Sure.
Okay, you work with that guy Aristotle.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know Aristotle, man.
Yeah, he invented tragedy, comedy, action, all those things that we use in movies and stuff. He invented that.
Damn, yo, I kind of wish that I could see an Aristotle original,
There's probably something to do with wine and a bunch of people wearing robes.
And then I wonder if he also created, and we just didn't know about it, if he created like the cinematic universe, like what Marvel's doing now, but back in Greek play times. And at the end of every play, someone would come up and be like, "Hey, do you want to be part of the Greek Avengers?"
Dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine an Iron Man made of straight bronze?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like Thor, but with the power of Zeus instead of Odin,
And freaking Captain America just doesn't wear a shirt. Just his shield is a Spartan shield.
Oh, yo, that would be badass. Yo, I'm trying to think what all the other ones would be in like ancient times,
Do you want to write a play on this?
The Greek Avengers.
The Stone Aged Avengers.
Yo, honestly, I really think that Marvel is doing that right now. I think that there might be a comic called like Avengers 10,000 BC or something.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it seems like a lot what you see with things nowadays. There's no originality to it. That's why I get really interested, because for something like you writing plays, a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, "You write plays?" Like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I do a little bit of poetry on the side. I don't ever really talk about it because a guy doing poetry is seen as wrong. But it's like, dude, it'll be 2:00 in the morning if I'm not podcasting with someone in like Australia or something. Next thing I know, I get hit with a bunch of lyrical, crafted out words. Like,
yeah,
there's something to it. Like, I remember, I'd actually enjoy going and seeing plays. When I used to see in school, I really honestly didn't appreciate it as much. Edgar Allan Poe plays.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And let me tell you something, like watching The Monkey's Paw really got me interested in that story, because it was also the camaraderie of the acting, but so much of it seemed like it was just a really good story that was played out.
Yeah, well, yo, I feel like this is actually a good segue. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't mind me doing a little what do you call it, self promotion,
All right, go ahead.
But you sound so down on that.
Go ahead.
No, but like I feel like a lot of stuff gets stigmatized, but there's like value in everything, like be it plays or poetry, or here we go. Are you ready for this? I hope you braced yourself.
This is the most brazen freaking plug I've ever heard before.
Yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking for. But or Naruto.
God damn it. I knew that was going there when you were like, it's a plug, but at the same time, and then you started leading. I was like, he's about to go from plays to video games to movies, and then I know he's gonna say Naruto. I fucking
Yeah, man.
That's
Like,
good. I like
but
it.
of all the pitches I could have given you, I feel like that's probably the least aggressively self-promoting one,
Bruh, you threw a shuriken out of left field, dog.
Oh, very nice. Do you know the show?
Yeah, I know the show Naruto. Are you kidding me?
Hey man, I don't know. Did you watch it at all when you were a kid?
Dude, I'm telling you, most of my memories that came from Naruto or when I was at my grandparents' house, we had to get up to change the channel when the TV was in the room because I lost the remote like an idiot. So I would get woken up at like midnight and it'd be like an all-night Naruto marathon, and I'm like just watching it when I should be sleeping, like half in, half out.
No, keep going.
Me and my brother are giant Dragon Ball Z fans, and my brother's seen all Naruto, rewatched the whole thing. I started rewatching it, and I just bought the video games that came out.
Oh, yo, what game?
The whole complete series. I got the complete store 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's my buddy and I. We play that all the time. Storm 3 is like maybe one of my favorite games ever.
It's a good concept. I liked it. I mean, I remember when I got it for Xbox 360. One of my favorite was the Land of the Ninja.
Yeah,
that was a little bit more free roam. I like that style of things. But
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the times, even if you're not interested in like anime or whatever, usually the games win people over.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how like a lot of people will get interested in the game and then want to go look up the show.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you're there, you're hooked.
So, how did you go from like we're talking about the kind of the verge and the topic there, a good segue, but how did you go to just doing a podcast on Naruto?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I've liked the show since I was like a little kid, you know what I'm saying? And actually I had a pretty similar experience to you. Like I didn't have cable when I was a kid, but I was staying at my grandparents' house late one night, shouldn't have been up watching TV, but I was, and this like huge fight from Naruto comes on, and I was like, holy shit, like this is it, man. This is the answer for me.
Dude, I remember so many of the stuff that's on Netflix now, like Naruto's on Netflix, all those. I rewatched them, but like I remember the moments when I was a kid and like Adult Swim would come on.
Yeah.
And it would just say white words on a black screen and have this weird music in the background. And then it would just play an old Japanese show like One Piece or something.
Yeah.
Where you're like, what the fuck are these people saying?
Yo, Adult Swim is an important fever dream for people like around our age to have had. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'll never forget that freaking guy that pops up on the thing. It's a big dude, and he just goes, "What am I gonna do? I sit on you, sit on you."
Yeah,
right on your head, and he's sitting on people's heads. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
I hate that I know what you're talking about. Like, I get that reference completely.
But hey, I was introduced to some really good cartoons back then. I mean, I saw what is it? Invader Zim.
Yeah.
They only played that at like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I have never understood because, okay, I think the Invader Zim might exist in the very small age gap between the two of us, right? You said you're like early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm 19, so I think that like I don't know because I didn't have any Invader Zim when I was a kid.
Yeah, it faded out. I know for me, by the time I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, I never saw them anymore. But then they brought the movie back. It's the same thing with old retro style cartoons. I mean, it means you're probably a 2000 kid, so that's where where like a lot of my cartoons came from. I'm talking about the original Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, well, oh my God, I was a huge fan of the original Teen Titans.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Beast Boy, all those guys. Like, I see my little cousin watching Teen Titans Go. Like, you ever heard of Robin? I'm like, have I ever heard of?
I fucking know all about Robin and Slade. Don't even get me started on that shit, man.
Don't even get me started on Terra. Nuh-uh.
Oh, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was scared you wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Every kid had a crush on Starfire,
dude. And speaking of like important childhood things to have had, the bit, I think it's like the end of one of the seasons, and this is as far as I watched, but where like Terra sacrifices herself to defeat Slade.
There were emotional trauma moments as a kid.
That's what I'm saying. This shit helped us grow up. You know what I mean?
You want to look back. All right. My buddies do a 90s podcast where they talk about everything good from the 90s. There are some really good shows that were very, very structured and had an actual lesson taught in it. One specifically, Johnny Bravo.
Oh yeah, that's like first wave Cartoon Network.
That would not play nowadays.
I literally I don't even think I've ever seen an episode of Johnny Bravo.
It was a giant muscled up guy hitting on chicks and being a kind of an asshole to women, and he'd always get slapped in the face. And it was meant to teach you that acting big and muscly and acting like a jerk doesn't get you anywhere with women, because all the women would slap him and then go to his nerd friend that would get all the chicks.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a solid lesson.
And Powerpuff Girls just taught people that it was a way that, like, it doesn't matter if you're a boy to be a superhero or a girl. Everyone is powerful no matter your age. It's the whole idea of creativity.
Yeah. And then Courage the Cowardly Dog just kind of gave kids nightmares.
That one straight taught fucking lessons. That's my all-time favorite one. The freaking eel in the bathtub.
Yeah.
When the little dog goes in the room, next thing you know, it goes, "Courage. Life is all about imperfections, and they make it the greatest moment of all."
But I feel like you have to wonder, is it life lessons or is it just like insane stoned thoughts that these writers came up with?
It's the reason why I never touched the vacuum as a kid, because I thought I was going to get sucked up into a music inside the vacuum.
All right. Well, I mean, like, you know, whether or not they intended to teach a good lesson, you know, I mean, I guess it happened.
I'm telling you, dude. Everybody knows and probably fears the show Mr. Meaty.
Yo, yeah, and I one of the co-hosts on NaruTalk he talks about Mr. Meaty all the time. When any
freaking tapeworm, man.
Yeah, exactly. We watched that together, man. That shit's terrifying.
I didn't eat it for 2 weeks, dude.
I don't understand, like, why were they so obsessed with scaring kids in the late 90s and early 2000s?
I don't think they understood. I don't think they understood how, and we didn't even really understand.
Oh yeah, no. But there's I feel like maybe part of the reason that this whole generational area of people is so like just depressed and disillusioned by stuff is because fucking Courage and Chowder and Flapjack, you know, all those shows just like they really get you down.
Yeah, well, I think the only ones, it's hard to really, like, nowadays it seems like cartoons are just mindless. Like,
yeah,
create an original story, like, you know, shifting it back onto Naruto, there was different villages, there was different stuff, but it included a type of art form that a lot of people in America weren't really hip on, you know, unless you're looking into comic books. I mean, that Japanese style of drawing and that writing, and even when like the words wouldn't match up with the lips. I mean, the original Dragon Ball Z, those whole concepts, like, yeah, they were very, very impactful stuff. Everybody wears a Dragon Ball Z shirt now and doesn't even know what that fucking symbol means.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always thought it's so interesting how much of an impact anime has like made in the West, but it's still like low-key stigmatized, you know?
Yeah, it was like back in the day, if you watched that stuff, people considered you a nerd or a weirdo.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing it on shirts and like Marshalls and all these other places.
Yo, you really are seeing it in shirts, on shirts in Marshalls. Like I bought like 3 Naruto shirts from fucking Marshalls.
It's like it's letting all the older generations that felt like they were suppressed now start to grab onto these things.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm only 21 years old, but I had my first experience today. I saw a kid that was like 16, and I felt like an old ass.
Yeah.
I just looked at him like, you look like a baby.
Yeah, no, well, they're starting to do tours at my school because, you know, it's getting to be that time. And some of these kids who are coming in are like early in high school, and it's like it's rocking my world to see the difference, you know?
Well, first of all, how did you even decide to do a podcast, and especially a podcast in the first place on Naruto?
Sorry.
If I could take a shot in the dark, did you do it because it seemed like it's harder for you and your friends to get to hang out, so you did this to kind of create like a group thing, and then eventually now you guys are kind of feel like you're relied on by people to create a podcast?
Yeah, well, you're definitely right on the end point. I think though the start of the podcast was really as anime gets sort of more popular, a lot of people kind of shit on Naruto, which is weird. Like I think there's a big anime community on like Twitter and Reddit and stuff. And a lot of the time, the kind of more mainstream stuff, especially Naruto and like maybe Bleach, get really overlooked because they're not as like cerebral or like pretty every episode as something like, like Neon Genesis or something like that.
I think if you're looking for answers on Reddit, you're going to find something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reddit's going to give you a bunch of shit that is like going to throw your mind through so many loopholes. It once told me I ate 2 boxes of Raisin Bran. So I wasn't going to the bathroom and my stomach really hurt. So I was like,
right.
let me
I'm
look
sorry,
up.
2 boxes of Raisin Bran in one sitting?
Yeah.
We talking Raisin Bran or Raisin Bran Crunch?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
because it's Crunch.
Oh my God, that's too much Raisin Bran and way too much Crunch.
I looked up WebMD. First of all, the top result was stomach cancer. And the one after that, stomach cancer. One after that, stomach cancer. And I decided to go on Reddit and ask. And everyone was just like, they were giving me so many answers, like, you need to go to the hospital, you're going to die in like 30 minutes. And I'm like, apparently the son with the 2 scoops of raisins and the bran, apparently he's the key secret ingredient to giving everybody stomach cancer.
Yeah, no, bro, that's a threat. That son, he's not smiling like a good-hearted, jolly guy. He's like the fucking Joker, man.
Do you remember him with sunglasses?
The Raisin Bran guy had sunglasses?
The son?
I can't say I do.
A lot of people remember that the Raisin Bran son had sunglasses, and it's actually not true. He's never worn sunglasses. What you're getting him mixed up with is the Sunny D.
Oh, yeah.
The son on the Sunny D had sunglasses.
Yo, the Sunny D had some ballin' commercials back in the day. It would like, the bottle would dance around and like play fucking jump rope with kids.
So many drugs were taken back when people were creating shows back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I think the easiest thing, like, you get to see a sitcom last. Like, if you look at Friends, if you look at like those types of things, they had a bunch of key figures play in that made it last so long. But like with let's say American Dad, Family Guy, these shows are going to keep on lasting because they're sticking with the time still. It's literally like The Simpsons. The Simpsons is one of the longest sitcoms or one of the longest animated series ever running because they stick with the times. They crack jokes like you're watching it. It's fit for your time.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, it's not going to make any sense like in like 5 years from now.
Right. Well, I feel like what is it? It's Always Sunny does that really well too. I don't know if you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Frank is the best on there.
Oh my God, absolutely. But
Danny
like
DeVito, oh my God, he tried to hang himself from a ceiling fan, and then he's like hanging there, like, well, I guess he's dead.
Yo,
the fan just breaks.
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, as a matter of fact, let's talk Danny DeVito for a second, right? Because he shouted out and almost came to my school because we built a shrine for Danny DeVito in a hidden compartment in one of the walls in our buildings.
Okay, are we talking about school or are we talking about cult here?
Well, I'm talking about a cult within the school.
Okay, that makes sense. I think we all had those.
Yeah, well, there was a bathroom like way downstairs in like the oldest building on our campus, right? And you could take out those things that it dispenses paper towels and it's a garbage can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take that out of the wall and walk through the hole, and then you were in this big room that had a giant picture of Danny DeVito hanging, and you had to leave an offering. So that was something strange.
I knew that chess club was up to no good.
Exactly. Yeah, but he saw it and everything, and he turned it into an opportunity to talk about recycling.
Oh my God.
Which is pretty. I mean, like, at least he's trying to do something good with it,
Do you think that, like, when it comes to just old concepts and old shows, like, it's getting recycled back into the kind of the society in a way, but it's getting kind of dumbed down? Do you think that something like that can happen with Naruto? Like, if they did a super out animated version?
Yeah, it's funny. I think actually anime is going almost in the other direction. There's new shit like My Hero Academia. And
yeah, that stuff's like a little bit deeper than I would go when it comes to Japanese art in general.
Yeah. I don't know. Just like funny enough, it really seems like if you look at Dragon Ball Z, right? I feel like a lot of the complaints that people level against Dragon Ball Z are addressed in Naruto. And then a lot of the complaints that people have against Naruto are addressed in My Hero. And like, it just keeps going, which is really cool.
I think it's all like, I definitely think they need to bring back those hours. Like they need to have more kids need to experience those like late night, like you just wake up from like a sleep and your TV's still on and it's freaking white words on a screen telling you something like stupid. Like, did you know that there's grasshoppers are technically locusts? And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And
Yo,
then
Adult Swim bumpers are so good.
dude, that quick minute, and then like it's like, I hope you're like, what are you doing right now? Well, you probably should be sleeping, but you're watching this, and it was just white words on the screen. Like, okay, the next thing you know, they played some show like Aqua Teen Hunger Force or something. Like, oh my God.
And like I remember, there's like a distinct turning point between because when I was really little, if I happened to see one of those, I would just ignore the words and be like, "Whoa, this is weird. What's going on?" But then there's like a turning point where you realize, oh shit, if I read these, it's like a whole thing going on.
All right, we keep going off the topic here.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's good. But with Naruto, how did you decide to do one on just Naruto?
Yeah.
That's a lot of shows. It's going to be only really limited to a select audience.
Yeah. Well, straight up, I mean, Naruto, it's one of the main media things that like shaped me as a kid. And I keep trying to like explain to people who have never seen it, like, hey, it's this really amazing show. It's really interesting. And I was dating a girl for a while and we watched through Naruto, like the two of us together. And I felt like we had some really good conversations together about the show. So when I got to school and everybody here is creating something and it's, especially at this age, there's a lot of pressure to kind of like get started on a project, So I was like, okay, what's something that I'm really passionate about that I think there's good conversation on and that I would want to listen to? So
I remember the select group of kids in my school that would Naruto run down the hallway.
Okay, I never Naruto ran, all right?
I used to make fun of them, but honestly, I give them a lot of credit now that I'm older and looking back because they really understood the idea of not giving a fuck.
That is true. Like, okay, like major props to those kids, but at the same time, it wasn't super cool in the 8th grade to Naruto run down the hall.
I was really like, I reached out to someone that I used to take an art class with. I was a freshman and he was a senior.
Uh-huh.
He was kind of like the nerd, draw art comics. You're stereotypical, what now would be mainstream.
Right, yeah.
He had the satchel and, he was a little bit of a weird guy, but he was a cartoon drawer and would make his own comics and stuff. And I remember always being really, really nice to him, always talking to him. Like, I'm nice to everyone.
Yeah.
I remember I messaged him. It's been about 6 years since I've seen him. And I messaged him and he goes, "Are you just going to make fun of me like everybody else?" I'm like, "Oh." And I'm like,
whoa.
Do you not remember me? And then like I started talking to him again. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm sorry. I just, everyone like when I ask, like they ask about my interests and stuff, they just feel like they want to just go and make fun of me." I'm like, "No, man, like we were cool back in the day. Like I'm actually interested. Like you draw comics, man. Like this is awesome. You know how many things, like it's good art too."
Yeah.
Like it's not nothing bad. Like I tell people, like I am when you meet me and like you talk to me and it's everything that, like I'm as real as it gets. Like I don't hide myself. If I don't like something, I'll say like, I don't really like that, but I can see where your perspective comes from. But
yeah,
it's about understanding. And it's like, then you get to see bullying take place. And honestly, I don't want to say bullying's good, but it's a way of turning people into something. Like if you can use that bullying and you can fuel it and let that drive you to do something. And now like he creates so much good art that's lost. And I'm like, dude, you had to take that drive. You have to take that initiative.
Oh yeah.
I tell him I'll put up some of his stuff on like Facebook or Instagram, be like, "Shout out to you, man. Like, good job. This shit's awesome." Cause he's got a whole following on this like art website where all these people are like buying his stuff and like he's selling it. And like, I've seen it change like from when I started like, just taking an interest in them. And
well, I'm what's yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I feel like what's super cool about kind of the world right now is that all of this shit, I mean, like kind of like you were saying, but like this is cool now. This is like mainstream to draw comics or to have a podcast, or like whatever. Everybody's creating and everybody's supporting everybody else who is creating.
Because so many people grew up in a world where it was like if your ideas were stupid, you want to go get a comfortable job. And a lot of people aren't being happy with that comfortable job. They want to be creative. They want to let their inner selves out, their inner freak out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just cool that people are down with that now,
I like that concept of it because I think it's making a little bit of a better age where we see technology and all these things that seems to be creating a giant spark of depression amongst younger children.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yo, I can't imagine growing up with an iPhone from birth. You know what I mean?
yeah, they don't even know what it's like to text the button 3 times and then send it.
That shit was painful, man.
If you crafted a long text with a flip phone, you fucking meant that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I remember like, 6th, 7th grade quote unquote relationships, you know what I mean? Trying to have an argument.
I am the slowest texter, mostly because I broke my phone for like a week one time, and then I realized that every morning I was waking up looking for a phone to check, and I was like, this is something I need to fix inside myself.
Yeah.
So I tend not to be on it unless like I'm at work and I'm instead of doing work, I'm playing Dragon City or something.
As you do.
Yeah, I just playing some stupid game, but it's like I started realizing like back in like when I try to text somebody, I get 8 texts in a matter of a minute. You know, when
Yeah.
I did my podcast originally, when I first started, the first 70 were in person. I was having people over that I never met over to my house. Like I open up the front door. Hey man, my name's John. You wanted to talk to me about something? I'm like, yeah, man, my name's Robbie. Let's introduce ourselves on the podcast. Let's get this going.
Yeah.
Next, we're having a 2 to 3 hour conversation. But I always told everybody when we do a podcast, I shut my phone off. I turn it off because I don't need to be on it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And I had someone recently be on their phone during a podcast. I was like, bro, is your phone on? He's like, yeah. He's like half paying attention. I was like, shut it off. Like,
Yeah.
it's time to disconnect for a little bit. That Snapchat, whatever, that text, it'll be there in an hour. And I used to take people's phones in podcasts. My friends like, you want my phone? They would look like I asked for their firstborn child.
Right. Yeah, and like I mean, a podcast is kind of like a celebration of conversation, you know? And so to be on your phone during that's pretty dark, man. That's pretty Black Mirror.
God, everybody references that show and I've never seen it.
Really?
They're like, oh my God, you must be a huge Black Mirror fan. I'm like, I've never seen it. They're like, everything you talk about is Black Mirror. I'm like, well, everything I used to, talk stuff and people used to say, oh, have you seen Stranger Things? Then I watched Stranger Things and then they're done doing the show. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's Black Mirror. It's like, look, man, honestly, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's a little bit just like, what if people, but phones though? And that's kind of it for 5 seasons.
Oh my goodness, it's too many. It's like Game of Thrones. Like I've never seen an episode of it because I think it was like the last season they had. I heard a bunch of people after the finale came out, they all started crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's too impactful of a show. I already cried when freaking in Naruto when what's his face? Kiba, when his puppy got really, really hurt. I almost cried.
Yeah, man. No, okay. Naruto is an emotional as hell show, and it's kind of wild.
It's weird to see how like now in the show that they go after the kids, like you're seeing it from the kids' perspective.
Yeah, it's yeah, so like it started out with like Naruto as a little kid, and then he like grew all the way up, and now it's on his kid.
Man,
like
I think the inner concept behind Naruto was like we all have this beast, like the one outcast has this thing inside of him that makes him more powerful than the rest. It was the same idea like Goku, a guy that never gave up and kept on training and pursuing to be the best. Like you get to see the whole perspective change with Naruto, like his life just grow and him turn from this loser into this Hokage and this man of power, man.
Yeah. No, it's cool as hell. And honestly, it's funny doing the podcast, and talking about like 3 episodes every week for like almost 2 hours. It's like you get this bizarre insight on this Japanese kids show that came out like 2 decades ago. And you start to be like, oh shit, this is like the most genius thing I've ever seen, So
you guys just kind of do each episode, or you guys just talk about Naruto the whole time?
So there's 4 co-hosts, right? And myself and my good friend Raj, we both know Naruto pretty well. And then we have 2 female hosts, Morgan and Katie, who have never seen the show. They don't really watch anime or anything like that. And we watch 2 to like 4 episodes of Naruto and then record a podcast talking about those episodes.
So you get kind of the experienced view, and then you get the newbie view.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's fun because like and really the idea of the podcast is that if you are a huge fan of Naruto, right, and you have like a friend or a girlfriend or something like that who you want to like Naruto, but they're struggling to like get into it, then you can show them this podcast and a lot of their questions will be asked by Morgan or Katie and answered by me or Raj, and they get to have that discussion and that like almost camaraderie, you know?
Kind of like a learning aspect to it.
Yeah, kind of. And it's like beginner's guide to Naruto pretty much.
So what types of things make like kind of interest you about the show? I mean, we've talked about like kind of the idea of starting it. I mean, it's a good way of definitely connecting with friends over a TV show you guys all like. But at the same time, like what do you find that like are some things that you could fix in the show? Or what do you find there are some things that really, really stuck in your head?
Yeah, well, okay, what's really crazy about Naruto? Like, so anime, right? It's based on manga. I'm not sure how familiar you are with like anime and manga and all that kind of stuff. But like one person draws and writes manga that's then adapted into the anime. And so what's incredible about Naruto is that this one guy doing all this, he has plot threads that start in like episode literally like 12 that get paid off in episode like 600.
Yeah, it's about planting seeds. I think that's what makes any good show series.
Exactly. But Naruto, more than, I mean, a lot of other stuff that I've ever seen, has these seeds of world building and action and character development that pay off like so incredibly well, you know?
Wait, you're telling me a good show has an actual story and structure to it?
Look, man, it goes deep, you know, and just there's a lot of characters that really feel very human, you know, and this is ultimately what NaruTalk, our podcast, is about, is that there's so much more that you can sort of relate to and put your own stuff onto in Naruto than you would think just by hearing, oh, it's a battle anime about a ninja, you know?
All right, don't lie to me now, but how many times have you tried to how many times have you had to try to do a ninjutsu? Come on.
All right. I won't lie to you. I had the fan data book when I was a kid, and that told you the exact hand signs to do.
Oh shit. I just got a flashback of that book.
Yeah, so you better believe I used to know all the hand signs to all the jutsu.
I would sit there for hours and stare at a tree and try and run up that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, yo, but that's another thing that makes Naruto so cool, man. It's like fucking Harry Potter a little bit, because the magic system is like so well thought out and so well explained that like if you're a kid watching it, then you go onto the playground and like you can learn the jutsu signs, you know?
Dude, I'm just thinking from my parents' perspective and looking at a kid in the backyard doing a bunch of hand signs and running up a tree. And falling on the ground. My parents probably thought that's why I owned a helmet.
Yeah, no, my mom definitely still calls me a nerd for having a Naruto podcast, but you know, that's boomers, man.
I think most people need to release the inner nerd, though.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. I mean, like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I think that's what makes you go to any Comic-Con. My buddy just dressed up. I forgot who the guy is that looks like he's a skeleton. He has a giant like scythe.
Oh, yo, Hedon.
Yeah, my buddy painted himself for hours and dressed up like that and went to one of the Comic Cons. Like Comic Cons, a lot people give a lot of shit towards. I'm like, no, it's a way of, you know, not being yourself, but being truly expressive and being a character of something you love. Like,
yeah, cosplay is like weirdly beautiful.
It's really an art form. And I think a lot of people look at it like, oh, it's against God. It's just a bunch of people getting together and doing all these weird things because they're just freaks of society. I'm like, no, they're people that don't like who they are and want to be something they admire and think that it's time. Like they can feel comfortable in a place to do that. And they should, because Comic-Con is not really what anybody really thinks it is. It's really just an overall fan fest.
Yeah. And I think the kind of the weird thing that I think is that all of this like nerd shit that you would find at a Comic-Con or whatever is really, really similar to like a big sports game.
Yeah, it's all it is. I mean, it's the same thing. You get to see the fans get riled up when somebody gets some information wrong.
Yeah.
You just go to a sports game and you see everybody wearing jerseys, and it's just a normalized thing.
Yo,
But
jerseys are cosplay.
that's true. You're trying to act like you. That's not your last name on the back of your jersey.
It's exactly what I'm saying, man. Yeah, you are putting on the costume of someone else that you look up to, who you'll probably never meet, who is, from the TV. I mean, tell me the difference between that and dressing up like a cartoon character,
Actually, fans in sports get a little bit angrier too. They're more hostile. I mean, how many times are you saying "fuck you" to Tom Brady?
Exactly. And I feel like that's just because for whatever reason, we've decided that sports are like higher up than.
It's because it's an American sport. It's the same reason why you can get pissed off at a baseball game.
Yeah.
Look, I've been to one Comic-Con. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was injured. I went to a football game in Baltimore for my Baltimore Ravens when they brought the trophy home. In 30 minutes, 3 people got stabbed.
Holy fuck, stabbed?
Yeah, we waited 2 hours for the Ravens to show up with the trophy and bring it home and do their speech and see the last dance of Ray Lewis. Yeah, 3 people got stabbed in 30 minutes, and I shit in between 2 parked cars.
Holy fuck. That's ridiculous.
I was a savage.
Yeah, just for shitting on the floor.
Literally, I was like, we're in a parking garage. We're stuck. We're probably going to be in here for an hour. I went to the bathroom between 2 parked cars. I actually brought that up to my grandfather. I was like, I don't want to bring this up if it's lingering in your head, but remember that time? He goes, remember that time? And he finished it right before I said it. That time you shit between 2 parked cars like a beast. And I was like 15. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, honestly, you have to do what you have to do. And that is pretty badass.
He literally said, I was surprised I had toilet paper in the car. I was like, I was too.
Wait, you did? You had toilet paper in the car?
My grandfather always kept a roll of toilet paper in the car, and then he never ever used it until that moment.
Fuck yeah, that is, and now I feel like I should be carrying around toilet paper everywhere I go.
Dude, it's why I keep napkins in my glove box in case I ever have like a spill or something in my car. I can wipe it up without having to look for like my shirt or a jacket or something.
Yeah. It's like, have you ever read or seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No, I have not.
Yeah. It's like this really old comedy book, but like their whole thing is that you should always have a towel. And like in the book, they're like these space traveling, like adventure guys, right? But they always have a towel because if you're in trouble, there's so much you can do with a towel,
Why is it that South Park is a show that'll never die, but Naruto is something that can die?
Because South Park doesn't have a self-contained story, it's just taking stuff from the world. Naruto's got an arc.
Yeah, but that's crazy though, because honestly, I've only seen a little bit of South Park, and I like the comedy, the stupid stoner humor, sure, but if you get stoned and watch Naruto, you get a whole different experience.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know. Are you cool with talking about drug use on the podcast?
I mean, we've said the F word multiple times. I don't see where drugs would even.
That is true.
Be refrained in it.
I mean, you got to make sure, But I got my roommate into Naruto just by virtue of like me always being in the corner of my room editing and stuff. And so it's this beautiful thing, man. He'll wake up and be like, yo, do you want to go get baked? And then watch any fight from Naruto. And it's like, whoa, what a way to wake up, That
fight lasts 10 hours longer when you're high.
Exactly. Yeah. And some of the fights in Naruto, I'm not going to lie, like they look clean as all hell.
And you get emotional in it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. And actually I had a friend, or actually one of the early co-hosts, cause we shifted things up a little bit around episode 8, but, one of the early co-hosts was like, oh, I didn't realize that this show was like funny and had romance and stuff. I thought it was just battles. And it's like, nah, what makes you care about the battles is the humor and the romance in between.
Yeah, the fact that, all right, so who is your favorite Naruto character?
Yo, that is a wild question and super loaded.
You can pick one.
All right. I mean, I'll be real with you. Do you know who Sakura is?
Yeah, I know who Sakura. Dude, what the?
I know, but listen, hear me out, okay? When you talk about the show as absurdly a lot as I do, you come to realize that Sakura she's undervalued by the community, man. I mean,
she's a badass. When Tsunade takes her under her wing and she learns to use her chakra into strength and she punches the ground and creates a giant crater in the earth.
Straight up.
You're just straight up savage, like at that point.
Yeah, and people sleep on her because she's a medical ninja, so she like doesn't have all the battle stuff that Naruto and like Sasuke do. But man, she's a strong ass character. Like honestly,
I'll never forget my brother picked Sasuke because he could breathe fire, and it was like the one that was wanted by everybody. Dude, I straight up picked Kiba, and then when the video game came out, I picked Gaara.
Yeah. Okay. Yo, Gaara is really cool. And his voice actor's name is also Liam. So when I was a kid, Gaara was my favorite character, mostly because of that.
I liked Gaara because I could play the video game and that's the character I could choose. And then my brother would just pick Rock Lee and fuck me up every single time. Okay.
And speaking of the Storm games, which you were talking about earlier a little bit, Rock Lee is broken as hell in those games.
Yeah. He's not as powerful as he was in Rise of the Ninja.
Oh, damn. Yo, Rise of the Ninja was great. Who do you main in Storm?
Ah, man, that's a tough one because I like the puppet guy a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I like him, and I like the show too. I like the ant. I forgot what his name is.
What's he look like?
The ant guy with the really Ozzy Osbourne sunglasses.
Fucking Killer Bee?
No, it's Kabatsu or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about.
He has an afro. Looks like Corbin Blue in a way, but he's like pale white. He could summon ants and bugs out of his hand.
Oh, Shino. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's Shino.
Yeah, dude, that dude was crazy.
Yeah. Yo, I play Hinata. She's my main in Storm, man. She's the one that Naruto ends up with.
Yeah, I like Neji.
Yo, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's all right. So we're back to the main point, man. There's so many good characters in this show, you know?
I think what's crazy is like when I started seeing like when they made you look at the show through Neji's eyes where you could see everybody's pressure points and stuff.
Yeah.
I decided to look into more about acupuncture.
No kidding. Like you actually looked up like science based on Naruto?
Yeah. And then I actually podcasted recently with a guy that did acupuncture and it was pretty amazing, like learning about all the pressure points and stuff. And a lot of my knowledge, he's like, yeah, you know a little bit about acupuncture. It's like in my head, I'm thinking all this came from Naruto.
Yeah. That's funny actually, because the dude who made Naruto, like his whole claim, one of his like big claims to fame is that he tries to keep it like weirdly kind of scientifically accurate. Like obviously there's like all these superpowers and stuff, but like he keeps all the anatomy correct and he really studies the like human body, you know?
That's what makes an effective TV show, honestly, or a cartoon series, if you actually get some actual knowledge in there as well. I mean, how many times did you watch The Magic School Bus and learn about the human body?
Yo, absolutely. And I mean, I just wish it could have been a normal field trip, but with the frizz, no way.
First of all, why were the parents not reading the field trip permission slip?
Were the parents okay with it? Was there a show was there an episode where like the parents took Miss Frizzle to court? For like
psychiatric hospital.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I would love for her to be my teacher, but at the same time, there are only so many rivers of lava that I feel like you should be riding before.
There was always that kid with the orange hair where they were just like, just shut up and enjoy the ride. You're going to get in so much trouble when you get back. I was like, can someone just chuck his ass out the window and let him land in the colon?
Yo, he's the kid. I'm pretty sure he's the kid that gets sick in that one episode and then they go inside of him to cure him.
Yeah, I can understand where he could be pissed off a bunch of kids going inside of him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that I would want all of my classmates to take a field trip inside of my body.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you get to see that in Rick and Morty as well.
Yeah, all right, but Rick and Morty does it, like, that's funny.
That's an Adult Swim version of Magic School Bus.
Yeah. Yo, it's really nice that, like, Adult Swim has a mainstream hit now.
Yeah, I like the concept that you get to see more. Like, it seems like we're in an age, like back in the day, Adult Swim was only for a certain time at night because they couldn't play it during regular television. Now it's like there's no really censorship at all. It's all just everything's language and kids are just used to it now. So like it's cursing, any of these things, they're all just normalized. Yeah.
Well, because now you're competing with like not just maybe HBO. Now you're competing with, you know, Netflix and Disney Plus and fucking Hulu and all that shit. So it's
Amazon's going to end up buying out the market. They're starting to make videos and do their own Netflix specials now. I can see it taking out Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I'm gonna like choose once the streaming wars start, because everybody's got something, like obviously I don't want to miss the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff on Disney, but like apparently HBO has all the Ghibli movies. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but like Spirited Away and all that kind of stuff.
I haven't, but I know Netflix just added the last Avatar TV show on there, so I've been watching that.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, Netflix started picking up more TV shows. They got Drake and Josh on there. They got a bunch of like good ass shows from like 2000 and a lot of my childhood stuff, which I was like, I'll stick loyal to Netflix.
That's smart. That's a smart move.
Well, nobody really watches cable anymore.
Right. Yeah, whenever I find anybody who like has cable still, I feel like I'm going through a time machine,
Well, it sucks because now all the people are going to get so grateful of what technology can do, where you can skip, like you don't have to watch commercials anymore.
Uh-huh.
You can just binge watch a whole series. It's like, what happened to waiting for Sunday when the new Walking Dead came out?
Yeah. Well, they're kind of going back to that though. I think Disney Plus, that show The Mandalorian, like their big Star Wars flagship show they're putting out.
I haven't seen any of the new Star Wars.
Okay, fair enough. But
in my mind, it has to die.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like a whole thing. But they're releasing this new show week to week. They're not doing a huge dump like usual.
Thank God, so I don't have to binge watch it. I mean, it's sad when Netflix literally tells you, "Are you still watching?" It's
I know.
Yes, I'm watching. It's like,
no, I know. It really feels like they're coming directly for you when they ask that.
It was like when the Wii said, "Why don't you stop and take a break?" It was like, "Fuck you."
I know. It's fuck you, but also like, oh, why do you got to make me feel so bad about this, Nintendo?
Oh my God! They even did it worse when they gave you the Wii Fit board.
Uh-huh. And fucking, if you stepped on that shit, the Wii Fit would make a little noise. It was like, oh.
And then it would literally go like, it would tell you immediately you were obese. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm 6'4", 135 pounds. It's like, sorry, the weight board calculates it as obese. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think Nintendo might have been trying to kill people. Like that is kind of...
They wanted you to play more video games, but not enough to where the Wii thing didn't pop up with a break.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think, if Wii Fit tells you that you're obese, you're going to play more Wii Fit. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's where I thought Naruto was good, was in like in Wii, where you could be more interactive. I think with games or movie concepts or shows like Dragon Ball Z, they have a lot more impact in video games if they were in more of virtual reality.
Yo, okay, so here's something that's really interesting is the people who make the Storm games, right? They have this mystery project that's coming up. That's a mystery, but it's in VR. And I just keep thinking, man, a Naruto game in VR, that would be it. Like, that would be perfect.
I definitely think, well, if you look at anything in popular mainstream, at least back in the day, Bruce Lee was a giant thing. Everyone started buying nunchucks, started buying like shurikens, started buying brass knuckles, started buying so many of this stuff. Where when Naruto kind of hit, it was like already pretty captivated by the audience. I mean, you ended up buying shurikens. No one even forgets about one of the best shows I would say is out there. I don't even know if you ended up seeing it. Might have been just a little bit out of your time, but Zatch Bell.
I do know Zatch Bell. Yeah.
That show, I bought the cards recently off Amazon. I bought the 2 starter packs for $5, dude.
Yeah. Dude, trading card games, like in again, it's that early 2000s. I don't know. They hit the perfect formula for getting kids because I had like 50 different trading card games that I was trying to collect.
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that shit. Look, my mom sold all that stuff when I was 14 years old at a yard sale for $5 over $8,000 worth of cards. I spent the past 2 years, I go to tcgcardtrader.com. Each one of those cards is like 2 pennies. I got a whole book. That's the whole Pokedex, every single Pokemon card from 1 all the way to where we're at now. I got a briefcase. I mean, a straight up suitcase I got from a thrift store filled with Yu-Gi-Oh card decks that are adjusted to different forms and different templates of whatever design I wanted it after.
Damn.
Dude, I went all out. In my garage right now, I have 8 tubs just stacked. My mom's like, you're 21. What are you going to do? I'm like, it's my fucking childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And there's something like really cathartic about going back and collecting the shit that you were into when you were a kid, like as an adult.
It's taking a time machine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, there you go. It's another reason I'm doing the podcast. It's like taking a fucking time machine.
Yeah, I definitely think that like it's cool when you first of all in a podcast, like I'm pro anybody that wants to start one. I mean, the fact that I have one, anybody can have one. I mean, it's an idea and it's a thought. You just got to turn it into something. I mean, if it's a way of, I've had people come up to me and try and monetize, be like, why don't you try and fit for an audience? I'm like, what do you mean fit for an audience? The good part about my podcast is it's for everyone.
Yeah.
There's no one that's ever left out. And I like that concept because you're just having conversation like me. I'm having conversations with people, and it makes it harder when some podcasters get into one where they have a specific niche audience that they do. And it's like, but if you can make it work, then do it. But I hate that a lot of people are like, you shouldn't have a podcast. You shouldn't have a podcast. You should. I see it happen all the time. I'm like, stop telling people and denying their creativity because it's not helping anybody in the long run.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, everybody in the world has something worth saying,
I definitely think we all have a voice. I mean, see, the sad thing is it gets expressed in a negative way when we comment on a video or we post something, making fun of like, how easy it is to say something behind a screen than actually saying it to someone in person.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like you just look in the comment section of literally any video and you see like people go wild because of anonymity,
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of people think that they're entitled and their opinion is better or they know more than someone who just started or something. I'm like, why don't you give that person time and they might surpass you?
Yeah. And also it's just like if you are nice about something that you're interested in, or like if you really care about what people are saying, then everybody can be interested in everything and like everybody can talk about anything,
I definitely think like there can be stuff even on like new TV shows. It's all the concept of if you can make it work and if you're having fun doing it, then go ahead and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think that, everybody can access everything as long as it's presented in a positive way. And that is the problem, is that so much shit is negative. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of this, how many times I went to the dollar store and asked my mom to let me get a toy for $1, and I would pick up the Naruto action figures.
Okay, I just, before we say that, going to the dollar store and being like, yo, mom, can I get something? It's only $1. That is another staple of my childhood.
Yo, I got the briefing every time I went into the store.
I would be like, yeah.
Look at the floor. Don't look at shit. Don't shit. And as soon as I get in there, can I get this? She's like, what did I just?
Yeah. And my dollar store had like a toy aisle kind of. And so it would be like, Liam, I don't want to see you anywhere. I don't want to even see you looking at that aisle,
Immediately you walk in the store, you're freaking already in the toy aisle.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, obviously I'm going to book it straight for that before she can even finish the speech,
Oh man, there are so many moments like with TV shows. I remember Summer just waking up in the morning with a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and watching a good old TV show in the morning.
That is something that I feel like people moving away from cable, that is something that's kind of sad, is that like I fucking grew up on Saturday morning cartoons because I didn't have cable. So like I watched the CW4 kids and it was only on Saturdays and you'd have to wake up early to catch that shit,
I remember getting my first Japanese comic book.
Okay, interesting. Like manga?
Yeah, it was like a classic, like black and white, 800 pages thick as a...
Wait, what was it?
I have no clue what it was. I can't even read it, but it was like... It was the weirdest thing, but it was the coolest thing because it was all based around samurais. But then there were like people like, I don't know, slicing heads off, and like you're reading it, and the next thing you know, some dude's head's chopped off. You're like, what happened? Yeah,
I love it because they can do so much more stuff than I feel like. Because I feel like people in the U.S. artists are a little more scared to do stuff,
because back like that culture in general. I mean, if you even remember the Teen Titans movie where they went to Japan and it was the creator
Trouble in Tokyo, of course,
dude. That one would really put comics and Japanese art in a whole different light.
Yeah. That was such a good movie, man. Do they still make movies? Oh yeah, I guess they do. They made Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Oh my God.
Apparently that was pretty good. I mean, I didn't see it, but that's what I've heard, man.
Man, I'm telling you, sometimes the shows that were meant for that time period need to stay in that time period.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, but all I know is apparently that movie ended up being a pretty funny like satire of itself.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, but
a joke on itself. I don't know. Like, what would you think if they made a Naruto movie now? It's not going to be as impactful if they made a Naruto movie back in the day.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know though. I think it would be really interesting if they did, put some like high production into it and try to like condense a bunch of episodes into a movie. I've been saying they should do something like that for so long.
I think that it loses kind of like, when you watch something, you're like, that didn't hold up.
Yeah.
I think it's because it hit us at such a structural point in our life that if we try to watch something like a movie or watch it get redone now, you would lose a little bit of interest and it'd be like, I didn't think it was that good.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is like for a lot of old stuff, there is like a perfect balance that got struck of just like the time period and the creators, and when you try and reboot it or remake it, that's like all lost.
Plus, like you get new people trying to design the show that the original creators really were trying to stay away from, like a new concept or something, whether it was like, I don't want it to be all jokes every 5 minutes. The next thing you know, they redid Teen Titans and it was nothing but like fart jokes every 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
damn, you just made fun of Teen Titans.
Yeah, no, I mean, Teen Titans Go, of course, is a generational tragedy.
It's a gap for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was once in a hotel room, right, and I couldn't change the channel on the TV. I wasn't sure where the channel changing buttons were, and I lost the remote like an idiot, right? And Teen Titans Go was on, so I watched Teen Titans Go for like an hour and a half straight. And
did you jump off the roof or anything?
Yeah, I came close to it, but also, I sort of like, as I slowly lost my mind, I kind of started thinking like, this is bad as a Teen Titans show, but it's not the worst kid show I've ever seen.
Yeah, there are some out there that'll literally make you question life in a way.
Oh yeah, like most definitely make you lose your faith in humanity.
It makes me definitely agree with my brother's girlfriend where she doesn't let my little nephew, who's like 2 years old, never watch TVs, never watch television.
I think that's valid. Like I feel like when you're that young, I don't know, man, maybe TV is not that good for you,
Dude, he does so much shit where I'm like, he's very advanced for his age because she's a teacher. So she knows how to like kind of sculpt the young minds. And I'm like watching him like at this point, I've already would have made 6 holes in the wall with my head. And this kid is already doing like basic math functions. Like he's starting to write down clearer. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Damn. No, but that's another thing. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a shame that I feel like kids don't just kind of wander around outside.
Oh yeah, they don't ever get caught in the rain on their bike anymore. I had my cousin who rode his bike to the store and he Ubered home because it started raining.
Fuck that. Oof,
Yeah.
I don't like that sentence at all.
I looked at his mom, which is my aunt, and I said, you failed as a parent.
The fact that your kid knows Uber already, that's just no good.
Or can we just take out the cell phone from dinner?
Yeah. Yo, I feel like don't have a cell phone until at least middle school.
That's true. I mean, you want your kid to be protected, especially in a world where it seems like they can get hurt so much easier. But it's the same time, like I had a fucking Amigo. That was what my phone was when I was a kid. I was 15 years old and I got a fucking Amigo. Like the thing that only called 3 people.
Yeah. Like yeah, exactly. I had a similar thing, and I got it when I was in middle school so that I could be home alone for a little bit,
No kid now is going to know the struggle of calling your buddy's house and then having their parent pick up.
Oh,
and you having to ask the parent if he can come out and play.
Yeah, I have never even thought of that, but that is something that I would dread on the daily.
Or
being like,
you had to literally tell them that day before you call, be like, I need you to be at your phone at this time. I'm going to call.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk to your mom. Can you please be near the phone at like 3:30?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And then when you're trying to go and set up plans to hang out, like you would sit there and call and then they wouldn't pick up. So then you couldn't just go over to their house. So you're like, all right, well, that doesn't happen now that you have a cell phone. You text them like, I'm on my fucking way over. I know you I saw the read receipt.
Yeah, I mean, it's convenient and everything, but I feel like these moments build character,
Dude, I had to ride my bike all the way to my buddy's house.
Mm-hmm.
which is like a good 30 minutes away from where I live. Stopped at a 7-Eleven, got a Slurpees, rolled up to his house, and he wasn't home.
Oh, but that was the life though, and you couldn't call an Uber to get back, you know?
Dude, that whole ride back, I was sipping both Slurpees. I said, I guess I got two.
I mean, like, way to be positive though. Like, I appreciate that.
I definitely got home, and as soon as I got back into my house, he got right on Xbox and then popped up online. I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I was out. I'm home now. If you want to come over." I'm like, "Fuck that."
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I was pretty lucky. I had a kid down the street from me, right, who was like way richer than I was, and so he had like a PS3 in 2007.
Bro,
And
he had that helicopter transportation.
that's what I'm talking about. And so like all of the kids in the neighborhood would go to his house to watch like Star Wars The Clone Wars every Friday night because he had like a big TV.
Man, I'm telling you, there's something different you get when you used to ride your bike to your friend's house.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, especially when you would ask your parents, like, "Can I get $20 for the weekend?" They give you $20 for the weekend. That thing was gone in one night. You're going to the store, you're getting energy drinks, you're getting all this stuff. Or the pizza delivery. So many kids aren't going to know what that's like.
Oh, yeah, because I guess you can just like Grubhub or whatever.
Uber Eats, man. My cousin was like, "All right, we're making a food order." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "All right, I'm babysitting you guys. So what do you guys want exactly? I'm going to call." And they're like, "We want to get, I know John wants 2 burgers from McDonald's. I'd like some Chick-fil-A. And I think, he wants Chinese takeout." I'm like,
that's not how it works. We're calling one place.
I'm like, "You know how many calls I'm going to have to make to get all this?" He goes, "No, dude, just use Uber Eats." I'm like, "What is Uber Eats?" He tells me about Uber Eats. I'm like, "Dude, you're fucking 12.
Yeah. I mean, like, I hate to sound like a boomer, but like it's crazy how fast shit has changed, you know?
It's literally like, you remember when you ordered off a pizza menu and you call a pizza place, "Hi, do you guys have that?" "No, we do not serve breakfast.
Yeah.
This is a pizza place. Pizza, or you're getting breadsticks. What do you want?" Well, and then having to answer the phone or answer the door and then give the pizza guy the money. And then sometimes you'd be like, "I don't have any money for your tip, man."
Ooh, yeah. I mean, like that is a moment in and of itself. Having to tell someone that your mom didn't give you enough money to tip.
Formative moments as a kid. I remember I used to order Domino's pizza, and I remember this was when we were getting that achievement on Halo 3 ODST, the VidMaster Indoor. So we're 3 hours into getting this achievement.
Yeah.
So you basically can't mess up. Like, it's so serious that someone has to go downstairs and answer the door, but nobody wants to walk away from the TV.
Right.
So it's a pizza we ordered. I literally opened the door. I'm like, "Hey, man, we're in the middle of getting this thing. I only have $15. I don't have the full thing." I was like, "If you want to just come in, we could talk about this." The guy comes in. He sees that we're playing Halo 3. He goes, "You guys playing Halo 3? I'm like, "Yeah, we're about to get the achievement at VidMaster Indoor." He goes, "Give me a slice of pizza. We'll call it even." I gave him a slice. He left. And I swear to God, dude, he let me keep like $15.
Yo, that's beautiful though.
Dude, he was in his he was like 26, saw a bunch of 14-year-old kids, and he was just like, "I get it. They're trying to have a good night."
Yeah. Yo, that's cool as hell.
Restored my faith in humanity.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so open whenever someone's got candy and they're in a white van. I'm like, "You got peanut butter cups? You got peanut butter cups?" My mama said I can get in the car if you got peanut butter cups.
I mean, like, honestly, for a Reese's peanut butter cup, yeah, it's worth the risk, I'd say.
Right. Well, hey, man, Liam, it's been so much fun having you on the podcast, dude. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for reaching out. Seriously.
I want to give you here a minute at the end to kind of promote your content so people can find your stuff.
Okay, yeah, most definitely. NaruTalk, the Naruto ShipPodcast. We're on, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you find podcasts, and at NaruTalk Pod on pretty much all the social medias. And I do want to say, in case I didn't make it really clear, the podcast really is for anyone because we've got those 2 hosts that have never seen it before, and the 2 of us who are really familiar with it. So, whether you've heard of Naruto or not, it's good conversations.
It's all about diving into something new.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a stranger's van with extra peanut butter cups.
That is exactly how I would describe NaruTalk.
Yeah.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode.